Hello and welcome to the Respond Customer Service webinar series. My name is Jeremy Johnson, a member of the marketing team, and I'm glad you've chosen to join us here today. A couple things I'd like to mention by way of introduction that you may notice are a little different today. And the first thing will be the branding that you see on this initial slide of our presentation. The merger has gone through. We are now part of Central Square Technologies, formerly Tritech, and the Respond Billing product is certainly a part of that portfolio, and we are excited about the different offerings that the new and larger company will bring to our customers. So that's an update on the branding there, and you've more than likely seen an email about that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your support folks or the sales contacts that you have regarding the Central Square merger. For today's webinar, before I get into that, I just want to remind you that we do have our EMS billing training opportunities still on the calendar. We've got a couple more yet this year, one in Vermont in a couple weeks, and then later in November, we'll be in Arizona. So a great place to go when it starts to get cold in the north. Those billing trainings are excellent networking and learning opportunities. So please do see the website and look at the dates and locations and information for those. Now, a bit of housekeeping for today's webinar. Typically, we instruct you on how to use the dashboard. Since it's a pre-recorded session, we won't be taking live questions, but you can feel free at any time to reach out to the support team, and they'll be more than happy to handle any questions that come up. And that does bring us to today's session. We're excited to review billing version 5.16, and we're looking forward to hearing from Rich Loehr, our product manager, and Kathy Ransom, our senior trainer and team lead. So Rich, we'll let you start us off today.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'd like to take this opportunity to quickly introduce myself. My name is Rich Loehr, and I'm the new Respond Billing Product Manager. I've taken this role on several months back. I believe it was in early April, and I'm very excited to be working with the user community to gather feedback and continue to improve and enhance our application. So for Billing 5.16, this was released back in August on the 13th. And just a couple of notes here. This was automatically installed for those of you who are our Tritech.com or our cloud-based billing customers. And for those of you who are on-premise customers, this update is now available to download in our Customer Service Center on the portal after logging in the Respond Downloads page. If you are not sure if your agency has received this update, please feel free to reach out to our support or account management, and we'll walk you through it. So for 5.16, a couple of the highlights we wanted to hit on. First thing we did is we've expanded our address length fields for the various address fields throughout the application. This is essentially a character limit increase to allow them to now accept up to 55 characters. In addition to that, the respective search fields and reports have also been adjusted to accommodate these changes accordingly. Next item we've had is we've adjusted our import scoring for the best match method, where the patient guarantor matches have been applied. This essentially aids to reduce the false number of matches by entry of fictitious social security numbers. And in addition to that, the first name and middle initial matches have improved to match patients who may have changed last names. We do recommend a minimum score setting of 110 in our import settings to accommodate this change. Next, for remittance processing, we've introduced a new UI for configuration. Essentially, this feature allows an administrator that handles remittance processing to configure updated insured or patient info when the call remittance is posted. Next item we have is we now support the 911 incident number to reflect as the call number. Essentially, customers have had difficulty tracking calls based on that 911 incident number, which is optionally included with the NEMSIS data. And this feature will allow that 911 incident number to be used as the call number for import. This should help to clarify any discrepancies. Next item we've introduced is expansion on multiple policy number masks for payer codes. We now have expanded this to allow 12 different policy number masks, and we've also introduced the logic to modify when these are modified to respect those additional new masks. And then a couple of miscellaneous updates. We've now added support for the 2018 annual inflation factor. We've also expanded on several code tables throughout the application, including the ICD-10s and a couple of others listed there. And we've also improved our Twain support, which is for scanning and attachment capabilities throughout the application. So now I'd like to turn it over to Kathy Ransom, who's our senior trainer and our Respond team lead, as she will walk you through these changes in a little bit more detail and within the application.
Thanks, Rich. Welcome to our webinar this afternoon. As Rich did indicate, the billing version 5.16 does contain a number of enhancements and changes, and these enhancements and changes have resulted from discussions that you, our customers, have placed on our roundtable, as well as some items that you have brought to our attention that maybe needed some tweaks in them. So please use that roundtable. We do read what you put up there. Reach out to your techs and give them information of things you'd like to see enhanced or changed in the program. A couple of our changes or our enhancements will require you to do some setup within the program. One of them has to do with the masking for the policy number for Medicare. And as you remember, back in October, I believe, last year, we started talking about the new Medicare MBI number, and it has made its way to us. And so we do have some setup information that lives on the defaults tab in billing. The policy number masks can be set up right here under the additional masks section if you're interested. This is not a requirement. This is only if you are wanting to set up a mask which would reject any odd number that comes in. My suggestion to view and to follow any of the masking or any of the 5.16 updates is actually to print out those release notes. And how I'm going to find those is by coming to the help section, going to documentation, choosing billing station. And on the left-hand side, if you choose technical references and release notes, clear at the bottom, you'll see recent release notes. Here you'll see the highlight of our release for 5.16, and if we click on that, it will bring up then the billing release notes. And I do suggest that you print these out so that you can follow through and you can see all of the different changes. It will send you at this point, when you get to the multiple policy masks for payer codes, to the actual section on payer codes. And then for the default tab, let's go down here to payer codes, default tab, and policy number mask. So it will show you how those masks can be set up. It also indicates in here how you can mask the characters and what the list of the masking characters actually mean. So we can see the L character is means that it's an alpha character, and the A character means that it requires an alpha numeric character. So this is really important because when I am looking at just this payer code and I look at the policy mask, this can be a little confusing. So please make sure that you go into the payer code defaults tab and read about that policy mask if you're going to actually apply the mask. And again, it is optional, it is not required. The other item, because of the new MBI number, that I would suggest doing is right here, we have the default Social Security number as policy number. I know many of you had that box checked prior because that HIC number did indeed usually pull from the Social Security number with the alpha character, and now it won't. So make sure that you're unchecking that. And again, this is just for your Medicare payer. This does not have anything to do with your Medicare Advantage plans or the HMOs. It is just your true straight up Medicare. The other item that Rich talked about was updating the patient record within remittance processing. And now remittance processing can be configured to allow updates to the patient or the insured's name and also the policy number, and you can pull that information in from the remit file. And that does have some setup that does need to happen. Again, most of our setup happens under the utilities. And so in this case, we're going to go to database system setup. We're going to go to remittance processing, and we have a new tab, and the new tab says patient updates. And what it's asking you is, would you allow, when the remittance is from Medicare, to update the name or the policy number? And of course, with the new MBI number, you do want to accept the new policy number. You may or may not want to update the name. Same thing with Medicaid or other insurances. Do you want to allow that payer to update the policy number or update the patient's name? So that is another one of the enhancements. Last but not least, I want to talk about the 911 incident number from NEMSIS and where that is set up. And to find that, we will need to go into the directory system setup, and we go to the import tab, and we would choose the import that we have to edit. And on the call tab, this is where we can choose then to use that 911 incident number as a call number. So one thing to remember is when you select the 911 incident number from the NEMSIS response, it will look for call matching, and it will use, if it doesn't see the NEMSIS value, then it can't be used as a call number because it is an optional field. Then the system will auto number the call. So you do have the PCR number as the call, the dispatch number as the call, and now the new enhancement of using 911 incident number as the call number. And for those of you that use remittance processing, I have one more item that I wanted to talk about that is part of this release. Some of you would get an error when you pulled in the 835 file, and it would say that you had some raw data missing in the remittance file, and then the file would still get imported in, and then you'd have to call us and have us run a script to delete that file. Now remittance processing has been improved to prevent those imports from coming in. So instead of displaying that error, now you'll get an error that says the file selected is not a valid HIPAA 5010 file. So it won't bring that raw data in, and we won't have to run the scripts to get rid of it. And I think I've covered all of the highlights, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy to finish, or Rich to finish.
I'll go ahead and finish this up today, Kathy. Again, everyone, thank you for joining us today on the recorded webinar. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, if you do have any questions about the material that Kathy or Rich presented today, please do reach out to the support team. They're always there to help you out, and it's a good group of people, as most of you well know. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and make sure you let us know if there's any way we can help you. Have a great day, everyone.